Conscious awareness of the enemy within is the only route to self-improvement of one. How can you fight the enemy that you do not know? And so, of course, what I mean by the enemy is your ego. None other than your ego. That is the enemy within. So before one can improve or expand in consciousness, one has to concede and accept that they are their worst enemy. You are your own worst enemy. No one else and nothing else. Only you. And when you decide to take responsibility for your life and accept that it is only you who can stop you from you, then will you further progress. So that's all it is. It's as simple as that. You know, it is as simple as that. And of course, when you are aware of the truth, which is that your ego is your enemy and you can defeat it, you will then realize that the experiences you go through do not define who you are. Because your ego seeks to define you as a being. But in the reality of things, that is false, because we are all one. And we cannot be entirely contained in this body. So this is just a part of us, but it is not us. And when you look at things from that awareness and go through things with that awareness, you will not be defined by your experiences, but you will learn from them and you will appreciate them. Remember, life is a mountain with many, many paths. And we have infinite time to get to the top of the mountain. And that mountain is where your ego has been released. And until we get to the top of the mountain, whichever path we take, and however many paths we take, until you get to the top of the mountain, you'll always be under clouds. And those clouds are your egos. So that's it. You can transcend your ego. But you have to know the ego. You have to know your enemy. You cannot fight the enemy you do not know. And the enemy is within. You always thought it was out there. You always thought the world was against you, not realizing that you project from within out into the world. So everything you encounter and experience on the outside is a reflection of the inside. Believe it or not. So it's as simple as that. You deciding that your enemy is within. Because remember, the enemy, our ego, is necessary to a point. That is what defines us as selves. That's what separates us. And while that may be useful for our experience on this plane, it can become an obstruction to the true meaning of life. So just remember that. While your ego is useful, it can also be your destruction.